This video is going to be a film study look at Jared Goff and the Lions wide receivers, their efficiency level in Sunday's win over the Indianapolis Colts. It's well documented how effective, efficient, super efficient Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown have been together in 2024. St. Brown has 71 catches on 85 targets. It's a truly ridiculous stat, if you ask me. Talking about a guy who is around the 70% efficiency rate throughout his career. This season, 83.5. It's one of the most underrated or under talked about stats, if you ask me, in 2024, is the fact that St. Brown, a guy who gets most of the attention, deservedly so, from opposing teams' defenses, is somehow increased his efficiency rate. I don't know how you quantify that or what percent you want to apply it to. Sunday against the Colts, Goff was only 26 of 36 passing, which is 72%, still pretty good. But when you look at 7 of his last 9 football games in 2024, essentially after the first 2 weeks of the year, here are his completion percentages by game. Now one of them is 50% with 5 interceptions against the Texans. But here's 7 of the others, 78%, 100%. That's the 18 for 18 performance against the Seattle Seahawks. 88%, 80%, 82, and 83. 26 of 36 being 72% is right in line with his season statistics, he being Jared Goff. But it's remarkable to see such efficiency over the course of the season, over the course of a prolonged period of time, I should say, since week 3. At this point, Tua is the highest rated quarterback in the league from a completions percent standpoint, 73.3. Goff is second, 72.9, but he has 1,000 more pass attempts. Tua obviously missed some time for injuries. There's 3 other quarterbacks that are right there with those guys. In fact, a couple that are ahead: Malik Willis, Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Mariota, but those are all very small sample sizes. No one has thrown near the pass. Neither of those 3 has thrown near the pass attempts that Tua has. And Tua, like I said, is 1,000 attempts behind Goff. On Sunday, he was 15 of 19 targeting wide receivers. I'm going to focus the video here on St. Brown, Jamison Williams, and Tim Patrick. He was 15 of 18 targeting those 3 guys, which works out to, you guessed it, above 80% once again. Goff's having an incredible season, and it's the efficiency with St. Brown is well documented. At one point, they were 30 consecutive completions, I believe, before his touchdown against Green Bay on a fade out route. On Sunday against the Colts, even though the Colts did provide resistance defensively, all of these guys were high efficiency in terms of catches to targets. And I think that's important with the run game that Detroit has produced or created, and generally produces on a weekly basis. If he can be efficient to the wide receivers, that to me makes them almost indefensible. So we're going to start from the first possession. This is a 3rd and 3. And you're going to get really so many of the route concepts from the Lions have dual underneath breaking routes or dual in breaking routes. Now, in this case, that's not what Jamison Williams does. They've created conflict on Zaire Franklin on this 3rd and 3 with the short route to Jamison Williams and then the deeper in breaking route over the top of the linebacker level. I am sure that if you play inside linebacker for any team that's facing the Detroit Lions, you are coached during the week to think about the routes that end up behind you. In this case, you've got a flat route by Laporta that's just designed to occupy one defender, snag, hook route by Jamison Williams, and then in-breaking route over the middle later in the progression, but directly in line for Jared Goff. In this case, Franklin fades a little bit towards the middle of the field. Easy completion for 4 yards to Jamison Williams. Still first possession. They, of course, got stopped on that possession after a 3rd down sack that I'll show you in a moment. Another pair of in-breaking routes. So here's one, I think Allen Robinson, and there's the second one to St. Brown. This is a 1st and 10. Goff hits St. Brown right on the cusp or on the edge between what I call zone 3 and zone 4. Now, technically, the ball is on the left hash, so zone 3 should be the middle of the field between the hashes. But that's not where the ball was snapped. That's not where the midline was. So this really, to me, is on the border between zone 3, middle of the field, intermediate, underneath, and then zone 4, which would, I think at this point, basically be like that area there, starting left to right, an intermediate depth, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Goff hits that area with a high degree of consistency And also it's his timing. When he throws into zone 3 and zone 4, he looks really comfortable getting to the back of the drop and getting rid of the football almost immediately. This is the third down, the sack. St. Brown is breaking open, you guessed it, on an in-breaking route here, but Goff, for whatever reason, doesn't think he can get the football to him. He's looking for Laporta, who's also on an in-breaking route. So you have this kind of levels type of relationship whereby you have one underneath in-breaking route and then another deeper one. In this case, it's Laporta who went in motion on the more shallow route, and then St. Brown a little bit deeper. Goff can't get to him, or at least doesn't notice it, doesn't think he can get to him, but you can see there's the opportunity probably to stick this throw in between those three defenders, somewhere in this lane in here between the hash and not bringing St. Brown into that boundary side safety. But Goff doesn't think he could get it there, ends up taking a sack from Buckner to force a punt or get a stop on the first possession. Second possession, they've inverted the wide receiver tight end relationship. So you have Laporta down to the field as the tight end and two receivers into the boundary. Why is that a big deal? Why do I mention that to you? Well, I think that it forces the defense to drop the boundary side safety down and account for the fact that you've got two quality starting level receivers into the boundary. If you generally have the tight end over here, teams are going to keep the nickel defender to the field with a corner, a strong safety, free safety, whichever the terminology someone wants to use. So you got 3 over 2 to the field and down to the boundary. A little bit less support numerically because you don't have the nickel defender there. There's an inversion from a horizontal standpoint alignment with the tight end to the field, and this is the boundary side safety, I believe. Walk down to the short side, and they're dropping him out of there. So you've got a 2nd and 10. No one appears to be open. Guessed it. You guessed what I was going to mention. You have 2 in-breaking routes here, and then St. Brown possibly to be used later on that route. Forgive me for the way that I was drawing it. It would not bring him into the safety. Goff will be trying to throw the football somewhere in there, splitting the 2 safeties deep. Doesn't think or doesn't see that the possibility exists there. So comes back to the left, almost like a Major League Baseball shortstop, moving to his left and throwing the ball to first base against the grain of his body. Really nice throw. Goff gets talked about often for being unathletic, not mobile, stationary. Here's an example of him moving out to his left, finding Tim Patrick wide open, obviously, over the middle. Turns into a 27-yard gain on a 2nd and 10. Really cool play, if you ask me. Kind of reminds you that even though these guys are not mobile related to other NFL quarterbacks, the supremely athletic ones at least, compared to us, they're able to do things that would be extremely difficult. Move to their left, throw a big old NFL football back into the middle of the field, on target, on time, to hook Patrick up. Still second drive. They're going to go down and get a rushing touchdown here, obviously. Goff didn't have a touchdown at all in this game. So conceptually, here's what you got. 3 to the boundary. St. Brown, Laporta, and Gibbs. Gibbs is going to release into the flats. Laporta's running his route to get to the outside shoulder of this inside linebacker. So it's 11 personnel away from the nickel defender, and Laporta is running a route, but he's not really one of the options. He's just shielding that defender so that Goff can read the corner and decide, where do I want to throw this football? Well, first of all, he's got a great lane to throw it, even though there is a defensive tackle possibly trying to flash in that window. Goff pumps one time to the corner, to the running back, out into the flats, to kind of get that corner to hedge in that direction. So that little slight move that Goff just did opens St. Brown up a little bit more. It's 8 yards on a 2nd and 7. Again, they get a rushing touchdown. We're skipping through some of this because I'm trying to get you as much of the wide receiver film as possible. Third possession now. Lions are up 7-6. Colts have added another field goal. 11 personnel. Tight end lined up at fullback. I really love these formations that Ben Johnson uses, and I also love the fact that you got 2 play action fakes here. One to the running back Montgomery off split flow, and then St. Brown on a reverse path. So split flow means Laporta to the right, Montgomery to the left, and you got a play fake to him. And then additional to that, post snap is St. Brown a reverse path out into the flats. Goff isn't looking there at all. He's looking in the middle of the field, if you ask me, right in the middle of zone 3. Patrick ends up pretty much posting up here with the defender on his back. Jamison Williams running a deeper post concept over the top. Nothing there because the safety with the corner and trail has got it covered. Goff starts moving, another throw while he's on the move, throwing it kind of off the wrong foot. Tim Patrick, 10 yards. He's been a great addition, Tim Patrick. Does he equal or exceed Josh Reynolds' production? I don't know. I just know that I'm glad to see that, well, first of all, that he's healthy and able to contribute to any NFL team, but of course the Lions. 11 personnel, quick play action fake by Goff, and another in-breaking route, and I think this is pretty much zone 3, zone 4-ish. To the right-hand side, quick. It's the timing for me. He's a right-handed quarterback, so it makes sense that to that side, if he's off play action, he's going to be able to get his hips and his shoulder face mask in line with the direction of that throw. This just, to me, like, think of a heat map for a Major League Baseball hitter or for an NBA basketball player in terms of their shooting percentage. The heat map for Jared Goff in this area here, I think, would be absolutely red. Bright orange / red, whatever color you signifies the hottest element of a portion of the field that he throws to. In this case, it's Jamison Williams for 21 yards. Again, we're into the third possession, second quarter. Detroit's up 7-6. They're able to go down the score there to make it 14-6. This is later in the second quarter. Incomplete pass to Raymond. One of the few that is, you can call it off target if you want. I'm not sure if it's a miscommunication. It's a 3rd and 6. Raymond's going to come back kind of like at that angle there. Goff throws it on the, quote, wrong side. I don't know. Is Raymond supposed to come back more towards the line of scrimmage? Does Goff throw it on the wrong side? I don't know. I really don't care because that's between them and how they're supposed to get this accomplished. You've got running back into the flats, clearing out all this space. For me, Raymond is coming back away from the defender, which seems appropriate to allow Goff to throw it more so in this direction so Raymond can come back to it. I don't know what they read or the pattern. It's somewhat rare for me to see a third down target of Raymond as the X receiver anyway, but that one was hit the Colts defender first, theoretically could have been an interception. One of the few balls that I think was thrown off target or in the wrong location by Goff on the day. Diamond formation, little check down to Montgomery. And the only reason I mention this is because there was a moment in the third quarter where Goff hit, I think, 3 of these. One of them was 16 yards to Montgomery. I believe there's an 11-yarder to Gibbs, but I may be wrong there. Maybe it was also Montgomery. And then a 4-yarder to Montgomery. Underneath the coverage, Colts did play a lot of zone, if you ask me. Starting to look like a cover 3 the longer we get into this play. And because of the play action, you've got an inside linebacker whose back is turned. Speed, E.J. Speed, I believe is his name, another second-level defender. He is off and running, meaning trying to get as much depth as possible. Climb concept by St. Brown. Laporta on a little in cut, and then the underneath. Ball's already out. I mean, the ball's almost to Montgomery already here early in the third quarter. Lions up 14-6, 16 yards underneath. This, to me, seems like a halftime adjustment. It seems to me something that the Lions coaching staff, Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, recognized was there, and they wanted to make it happen underneath of those zone coverages. 11 personnel ace, and you're going to get 2 guys winning against the Lions' offensive line. It's Latu and Buckner. This ball ends up hitting one of the defenders who's guarding Jamison Williams. From the right-hand side of the offense, an in-breaking route over the top, basically an over concept with a clear out. Latu wins against the tight end. I think it's Brock Wright, but I could be wrong. Additional to that, Buckner has won against Zeitler. They kind of sandwich Goff. That one was dangerous because once it gets deflected, I don't know about you watching the game live, I saw the ball in the air and I thought, oh, that hopefully they don't intercept it. That ball doesn't get picked off. Same possession. We're now into a 3rd and 4. This is going to be a short pass to Patrick. Essentially an in-breaking route. Conceptually, look at how much is afforded to Goff over the middle. It's empty. Williams is sitting down. Very similar, if you ask me, to the first play I showed you in this video, except it was on the other side of the field, number 1. Number 2, it was St. Brown running the in cut. So In this case, the linebacker commits to Jameson Williams, the route that he caught earlier on a 3rd and 3. And this time, Goff hits St. Brown, hits Patrick over the middle for 14 yards. Quick, clean, easy, repeatable concepts using different players to get it accomplished. And they're just taking the Colts to school. Their zone defense really can't match up. And I don't think they had the personnel to consistently play man, certainly not against this Lions team. This is the same play from the end zone angle. You can see that Goff looks here initially, and that kind of holds EJ Speed, forces him to move in that direction, comes back to the middle of the field. I think Goff knew what he was going to get once he moved over there. He is expert level at looking to one side, coming back to the other side of the field because he knows what a defender is going to do, and he knows that his receiver is going to be open. Quick little slot screen here. We're still early 3rd quarter. At this point, I don't know about you, I felt like the Lions were starting to take control offensively. How many of these were there in the game on Sunday that contribute to his 26 completions? I think 2. You had one to St. Brown here that goes for 8 yards, and then you had another one to Jameson Williams. St. Brown, the Ravens use this exact same setup, and they do it with Zay Flowers typically. 2 tight ends to the top side. Ball is snapped. Jahmyr Gibbs crosses his face, just trying to hold this inside linebacker. Additional to that, Zeitler is pulling in that direction to give that second-level defender something to look at. The problem, the chink in the armor here, is that Latu, the rookie, is incredibly fast and strong. He even looks bigger than I remembered seeing on film in college. He's going to be a real issue for offensive lines for a long time to come. I think he's a spectacular talent. If you ask me, I'd like to see them get him on the field even more. Moving forward, 3rd quarter, and this is going to be another screen. This one's Jameson Williams to the wide side of the field out of 11 personnel. So the nickel defender is up there. Technically, it's a 3-on-2. They get 2 of the offensive linemen out in front. The speed, the burst here. I think I told you guys in the reaction video, my brother was watching the game with me. Actually, multiple family members were. And my brother was like, "Oh, Lord, look at the burst." I said, "Yeah, man, have you not seen him play? Like, he's probably, when fully healthy, he's probably legit 4.2, high 4.2s, close to 4.3, 40 guy with the ball in his hand." 3rd quarter, still moving on here, only focusing on wide receivers. This is going to be St. Brown for 12 yards. It's a 1st and 10. I love this route. It's against what I would consider to be a cover 3. He's up at the top side of the screen. So you're getting a chip by Laporta. St. Brown's bringing his route over the top of the second-level defender and then back to the sideline, number 1. Number 2, you do have this late cross where Montgomery is just sitting underneath, trying to hold the flat defender such that Goff can throw it. And you can see he's already starting to pull the pin on the grenade, throw it towards the sideline, away from the lane, keeping that defender, that curl flat defender, out of the throwing lane. In this case, it's St. Brown for 12 yards. Pretty easy if you ask me. Well, at least easy for those 2. I felt like that Goff and St. Brown could have got more accomplished in the pass game if they wanted to target him, if they wanted to rely on him a little bit too much. Everything was clean and smooth when he did decide to get the football to St. Brown. This is after a sack. This will be St. Brown underneath of a Tampa 2. One of the last plays that I'll show you, 12-yard completion. He's sitting down. And when I say a Tampa 2, what I mean is one of the linebackers, generally Mike linebacker, in this case it's Zaire Franklin, is kind of trying to get depth. Almost looks like an inverted Tampa 2 because the corners are the guys getting into the half-field alignment. So Tampa 2, invert Tampa 2, hybrid invert Tampa 2, they're all different variations of the same theme. 5 underneath droppers, 4 of which kind of sit and are capped near the line to gain. Someone running in the middle of the field to handle a vertical, and then 2 safeties or 2 DBs in this case that evenly split the field from a horizontal standpoint. I thought that this was the one that perhaps Goff could have looked to the field side where you have the inversion. So you have a tight end and a receiver to the top side, 2 receivers down here to the boundary, and it's incomplete to Jameson Williams. Ball might be thrown a little behind Williams on this, you guessed it, in cut. Jones ends up, I think, getting a pass defense, but look at Laporta. Goff can't see that. He's already let go of the football. The ball's out quick. He's also got pressure getting to him in the form of Zaire Franklin. I thought Goff had a sharp game. Nonetheless, there's 2 throws here. This one maybe on the back hip, and the one to Raymond on the 3rd down. But he might also be trying to keep this away from this second-level defender, E.J. Speed. To me, this seemed like a game where you got to the 3rd quarter and Goff and Ben Johnson recognized, hey, we don't really have to get out of 4th gear from the standpoint of doing anything risky. I do wonder, hope that Goff and Jamison Williams will get more opportunities for deep balls, but he can do this all day. It really reminds me of Captain America saying, I can do this all day, because that's what Jared Goff can do. Process intermediate to short passing game quickly, get the ball out, move to the 2nd or 3rd read. I think he's one of the best in the league at getting that done. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's so efficient this year, not just with Amon-Ra St. Brown, but with all of his receivers like you saw on Sunday against the Colts. Appreciate you guys' time, man. I've been traveling pretty much most of Monday and Tuesday, so it's been difficult to get content out. Let me know what you think of this one in the comment section, number 1. Number 2, I'm going to try to get a preview out for you guys for Wednesday on the Lions-Bears matchup on Thanksgiving Day, which I'll, of course, do a reaction video to. If you think other Lions fans would appreciate and enjoy this film study look at Jared Goff and his connection and efficiency with his wide receivers on Sunday against the Colts, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.